When nothing makes sense anymore. This message is for you. Listen to me now. My child. I am speaking to you now. Do not turn away. Do not tell yourself this is not meant for you. If you are listening right now, you are not here by accident. I know how confused you feel. I know how heavy your thoughts have become. I know how many questions circle your mind with no answers. I know what it feels like when nothing makes sense anymore. Pause with me. Take a slow breath. You do not need to understand everything in this moment. I am here. My child. There was a time when you could make sense of life. You could connect the dots. You could explain what was happening. You could tell yourself, this is why. But now, the explanations are gone. Things did not turn out the way you expected. Prayers feel unanswered. Doors closed without warning. You look back and wonder where clarity went. And you ask yourself quietly, why does everything feel so unclear now? I know that question. I hear it when you are alone. I hear it when you lie awake at night. I hear it when you try to be strong but feel lost inside. My child. Confusion does not mean you have failed. It does not mean you missed me. It does not mean I stepped away. It does not mean your faith is broken. Confusion is often the place where trust is invited to grow deeper. I know that is hard to hear right now. Because you want answers. You want direction. You want something solid to hold on to. Instead, you feel suspended. Waiting. Wondering. Trying to understand what changed. My child. When nothing makes sense anymore, your heart feels unsafe. You question your choices. You question your prayers. You question whether you heard me correctly in the past. You replay moments in your mind. You wonder what you should have done differently. You wonder if you misunderstood me. Listen to me gently now. You did not imagine my presence before. You did not make up my guidance. You did not follow me in vain. Just because this season feels unclear does not mean I stopped leading you. My child. There are moments when I lead you with clarity. And there are moments when I lead you through trust. This is one of those moments. I know you do not like this part. You would rather see the whole path. You would rather know what comes next. You would rather understand why things unfolded this way. But faith is not always walking with sight. Sometimes faith is staying when nothing makes sense. And you are staying. Even now. My child. If you are listening right now and your heart feels tired, you may quietly say, I am here. You do not have to say it out loud. You do not have to type anything. Just let your heart acknowledge it. I see you. My child. When confusion sets in, fear often follows. Fear that you are going in the wrong direction. Fear that you will make another mistake. Fear that things will never be clear again. You begin to hesitate. You stop trusting your steps. You second-guess your decisions. You feel paralyzed between moving forward and standing still. That paralysis is exhausting. And I know how heavy it feels. My child. You are not confused because you are far from me. You are confused because you are in transition. And transitions are uncomfortable. They dismantle what was familiar. Before revealing what is coming. I know it feels unfair. You followed me. You tried to do what was right. You trusted me. And now things feel uncertain. But hear me clearly now. I have not changed. My love has not weakened. My care has not diminished. My presence has not left you. I am closer to you now than you realize. My child. You may be tempted to interpret silence as absence. To think that because you do not hear clear instructions, I must be distant. But silence does not mean abandonment. Sometimes silence means I am holding you steady, while your heart learns to rest. You have been trying to understand everything at once. Trying to force meaning. Trying to rush clarity. Trying to regain control. That effort is wearing you down. You do not need to solve this season. You need to stay with me in it. My child. If you feel overwhelmed right now, place your hand over your heart. Breathe slowly. Nothing is being demanded of you in this moment. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to admit you do not understand. You are allowed to say, Lord, this doesn't make sense. That honesty does not push me away. It draws me closer. My child. I know you are afraid of making the wrong move. You fear that one wrong decision could cost you everything. You fear that waiting too long could ruin what is left. You fear that acting too soon could cause more pain. So you stand still. And stillness begins to feel like failure. But stillness is not failure. Sometimes stillness is obedience. Sometimes stillness is protection. Sometimes stillness is where your soul catches up to what your life has been carrying. My child. I am not asking you to figure out the future right now. I am asking you to trust me in this breath. This one moment. This place where you are. If you are listening right now and something inside you understands this, you may quietly say, I understand. Not because everything is clear, but because you recognize this truth. My child. When nothing makes sense anymore, you feel alone. Even when others are around. Even when people talk to you. Even when life keeps moving. Because no one else sees the confusion inside you. You smile. You nod. You keep going. But inside, you are asking questions you do not know how to voice. I see that loneliness. And I want you to hear this. You are not alone in this place. I am with you in the confusion. I am with you in the unanswered questions. I am with you in the tension between faith and fear. You do not walk this path by yourself. My child. You may think clarity will come only after you do something. After you decide. After you move. After you fix what feels broken. But clarity often comes after surrender. After you stop demanding answers. After you release control. After you choose trust even when you do not feel strong. That choice is yours. I will never force it. Faith is always a choice. And if you are listening right now, you are already choosing to stay. That matters. My child. You may feel weak because you are confused. But confusion does not cancel your faith. Faith is not certainty. Faith is choosing me. When certainty is gone. And you are doing that right now. Even if it does not feel like it. My child. I know you want reassurance about the future. You want to know if things will get better. If healing will come. If purpose will make sense again. I will not give you details that would overwhelm you. But I will give you this truth. I am not finished with you. This confusion is not the end of your story. This season is not meaningless. This pain is not wasted. Even now, I am working in ways you cannot see. You do not need to understand that yet. You only need to remain. My child. If you are here and you choose to trust me, even a little. You may quietly say, my trust is here. Not because it is perfect. Not because it is strong. But because it is real. And that is enough. My child. Let this moment be what it is. A place to breathe. A place to rest. A place to remember that I am still your Lord. You do not need to rush clarity. You do not need to force answers. You do not need to carry this confusion alone. I am holding you. Even when nothing makes sense anymore. Stay with me. In the next part, I will speak to the fear beneath your confusion. The fear that tells you something is wrong with you. And why that fear is not telling you the truth. Remain with me. I am here. My child. I am still with you. You did not lose me between the last breath and this one. You did not drift too far. You did not miss a step that removed you from my care. Pause with me again. Let your body settle. Let your thoughts slow just a little. Now let us speak about the fear beneath your confusion. Because confusion is rarely the deepest layer. Under it lives fear. Fear that something is wrong with you. Fear that you are broken in a way that cannot be repaired. Fear that you missed something important and cannot go back. I know this fear well. It comes quietly. It does not shout. It whispers. It says, other people seem to understand life. Other believers hear me clearly. Why am I the one who feels lost? My child. That fear lies to you. It tells you that confusion means failure. That uncertainty means weakness. That not understanding means you are less faithful. None of that is true. Confusion is not a verdict. It is a passage. And passages feel unsettling. Because they do not let you stay where you were. My child. Fear tells you that if you were stronger, this would not be happening. That if your faith were deeper, you would not feel this way. That if you trusted me enough, everything would make sense. Listen to me gently now. Even those closest to me have stood where you stand now. Not because they lacked faith, but because faith sometimes grows in the dark. Fear does not understand that. Fear only understands control. My child. This fear has made you question yourself constantly. You replay conversations. You replay decisions. You replay prayers. You look for the moment where you think everything went wrong. But life is not that simple. You did not ruin your future with one choice. You did not derail my plan with one mistake. You did not misunderstand me so completely that I abandoned you. Fear wants you to believe that. Because fear thrives when you doubt yourself. My child. I see how fear has tightened your chest. How it wakes you at night. How it follows you into quiet moments. How it rushes in when things go silent. Fear hates silence. Because silence reminds it that it is not in control. Fear tells you that silence means danger. But my silence is not danger. My silence is presence without pressure. My child. Fear also tells you that this confusion will last forever. That you are stuck this way. That clarity will never return. That this is who you are now. That thought exhausts you. It makes each day feel heavier. Each decision feel impossible. Each step feel risky. But hear me clearly now. This season is not permanent. It is not endless. It is not your identity. It is a moment of formation. Fear cannot see formation. Fear only sees discomfort. And assumes something is wrong. My child. Fear wants answers immediately. It wants certainty before obedience. It wants clarity before trust. It wants proof before peace. But I am teaching you something deeper now. I am teaching you to trust me. Without knowing everything. This does not weaken you. It strengthens you. My child. You are afraid that if you admit your fear, you will disappoint me. That I expect you to be confident. Certain. Unshaken. But I already know your fear. I am not offended by it. I am not distant because of it. I meet you in it. You do not need to hide your fear from me. Bring it close. My child. If you are listening right now, and you recognize this fear inside you, you may quietly say, I see it. Not to judge yourself. Not to fight it. Just to notice it. Awareness weakens fear's grip. My child. Fear also tells you that you are alone in this. That others would not understand. That you must carry this confusion quietly. That you must appear strong. So you isolate. Even when people are around you feel unseen. Even when you speak, you feel unheard. Even when you pray, you feel uncertain. That isolation deepens fear. But isolation is not truth. You are not walking alone. I am here. Closer than your fear. Closer than your confusion. Closer than your questions. My child. Fear wants to define you by this moment. But I see your whole journey. I see your faith before this confusion. I see your faith within it. I see your faith that will come after it. This moment does not erase your devotion. It refines it. Fear cannot understand refinement. It only understands threat. My child. You may feel tempted to rush out of this season. To force clarity. To make a decision just to feel movement. To do something drastic so you can feel control again. Slow down. Fear pushes. I lead gently. You do not need to escape this moment. You need to remain with me in it. Remaining is not passive. It is an act of trust. My child. Fear also tells you that if you slow down, everything will collapse. That life will fall apart if you stop managing it. That people will move on without you. That opportunities will disappear. But fear exaggerates. Your life is not that fragile. I am holding more than you realize. My child. You are not being punished. You are not being tested to see if you will fail. You are not being corrected harshly. This is not judgment. This is intimacy. Moments of confusion often precede deeper knowing. But deeper knowing does not come through force. It comes through surrender. My child. Fear resists surrender. Because surrender feels like loss of control. But surrender is where you discover. You were never alone. If you are listening now, and something in your heart softens at this truth, you may quietly say, I am still here. That is enough. My child. You do not need to conquer fear. You do not need to silence it completely. You do not need to eliminate every doubt. You only need to stop letting fear lead. Let me lead instead. I will not rush you. I will not confuse you further. I will not abandon you in this place. I walk at your pace. My child. Fear says, what if this never changes? I say, I am with you even now. Fear says, what if you are not enough? I say, you are mine. Fear says, what if you are lost? I say, I know exactly where you are. My child. You are allowed to rest from fear. You are allowed to stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios. You are allowed to stop punishing yourself with questions that have no answers yet. Nothing bad happens when you rest in me. Nothing falls apart when you trust me with what you cannot control. My child. This confusion is not evidence of distance. It is evidence that you are being drawn deeper. Fear cannot follow you there. Only trust can. You do not need to rush into trust. You can choose it gently. Even now. If you choose, you may quietly say, my trust is my choice. Not because fear is gone, but because love is present. My child. Let this part of the journey be what it is. A place where fear is exposed. And no longer allowed to rule. You are not failing. You are learning how to trust me. When nothing makes sense anymore. Stay with me. In the next part, I will speak to waiting. Not as punishment or delay. But as a sacred place where strength is rebuilt and direction begins to form. Remain with me. I am not leaving you. My child. Stay with me. You have not lingered too long. You have not waited incorrectly. You have not misunderstood what this moment is asking of you. I want to speak to you now about waiting. Not the kind of waiting that feels like being forgotten. Not the kind that feels like life is passing you by. But the waiting you are in right now. Pause with me. Let your breath slow. Let your shoulders soften. Waiting has been one of the hardest things for you. Because waiting feels like uncertainty stretched thin. It feels like standing still while everything else moves. It feels like holding questions with no answers in sight. And when nothing makes sense anymore, waiting can feel unbearable. My child. You were taught that waiting means delay. That it means something is wrong. That it means you are behind. That it means you did not do enough. So when waiting entered your life, you resisted it. You tried to move past it quickly. You tried to make decisions just to escape it. You tried to fill it with noise so you would not feel it. But waiting returned. Again and again. Not to punish you. Not to frustrate you. But to shape you. My child. Waiting is not empty. It only feels empty because it is quiet. And quiet reveals what noise once covered. In waiting, your heart becomes audible. Your fears speak clearly. Your longings surface honestly. This can feel overwhelming. Because now you hear everything you once avoided. But I am with you in this hearing. My child. Waiting is not the absence of my work. It is the place where my work goes deeper. When I move quickly, you see results. When I move slowly, I build foundations. And foundations cannot be rushed. You are not waiting because I am undecided. I am not hesitating about you. I am not unsure of what to do next. I am not withholding clarity to test you. I am steady. And this waiting is steadying you. My child. You feel exposed in waiting. Because you cannot hide behind progress. You cannot distract yourself with movement. You cannot measure your worth by productivity. Waiting strips away performance. And that feels uncomfortable. Because you learned to feel valuable when you were useful. When you were busy. When you were needed. Now, in waiting, you are simply here. And you wonder if that is enough. Let me answer you clearly. You are enough even here. Even now. Even without answers. Even without progress you can point to. My child. Waiting reveals where your trust has been resting. On outcomes. On timelines. On understanding. When those supports fall away, you feel unsteady. That unsteadiness is not failure. It is invitation. An invitation to rest your trust on me instead. Not on what you can predict. Not on what you can control. Not on what you can explain. But on my presence with you. My child. Waiting also teaches you to listen differently. Before, you listened for instructions. For clarity. For direction. Now, you are learning to listen for peace. For steadiness. For alignment. You are learning how something feels. Instead of how it looks. This will matter later. Because not every door that opens is meant for you. Not every opportunity that appears will bring life. Not every path that looks good will lead you where you need to go. Waiting is refining your discernment. My child. You may feel like waiting has weakened you. That you have lost confidence. That you hesitate more than you used to. That you second-guess yourself. But look closer. You are not weaker. You are more careful with your heart. You no longer rush into things just to avoid discomfort. You no longer move to prove something. You no longer act from panic. You pause now. That pause is wisdom. My child. Waiting has also slowed your prayers. You no longer come to me only with requests. You come with questions. With honesty. With silence. That is not regression. That is intimacy. You are learning to sit with me. Instead of only asking things of me. This kind of closeness cannot be formed in haste. It grows in waiting. My child. I know waiting has made you feel lonely. Because others may not understand this season. They may encourage you to move on. To decide something. To do something. They mean well. But they do not live inside your heart. I do. And I know that forcing movement right now would wound you. So I ask you to wait. Not because you are incapable. But because you are valuable. My child. Waiting is not wasted time. It is time where you are being reoriented. Your values are shifting. Your priorities are clarifying. Your heart is learning what it can no longer carry. This is not visible work. But it is essential work. My child. If you are listening right now, and you feel the weight of waiting, you may quietly say, I am still waiting with you. Not because it is easy. Not because you like it. But because you choose not to walk away. That choice matters more than you know. My child. Waiting teaches you patience with yourself. Before, you judged your emotions quickly. You labeled them as weakness. You tried to fix them fast. Now, you allow feelings to exist. You sit with sadness. You acknowledge confusion. You name fear without condemning yourself. This patience is healing you. Waiting is teaching you how to stay present. Without running from discomfort. That skill will serve you in every season ahead. My child. You are not behind. I need you to hear this clearly. You are not late. You are not delayed. You are not missing your life. You are exactly where growth is happening. The world celebrates speed. I cultivate depth. And depth takes time. My child. Waiting also humbles the illusion of control. You are learning that you cannot force clarity. You cannot rush healing. You cannot schedule peace. This realization is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to free you. You no longer have to carry the burden of making everything work. You are allowed to trust me with outcomes. My child. You fear that if you wait too long, nothing will happen. But waiting does not stop movement. It prepares you to recognize it. When the next step comes, you will not take it from desperation. You will take it from readiness. That makes all the difference. My child. I am not asking you to enjoy waiting. I am asking you to remain in it with me. You do not need to pretend it is easy. You do not need to silence your frustration. You do not need to hide your longing. Bring all of it to me. Waiting becomes bearable. When you stop carrying it alone. My child. If you feel tired of waiting, tell me. If you feel angry about it, tell me. If you feel scared that nothing will change, tell me. I am not fragile. Your honesty does not push me away. It draws you closer. My child. Waiting is not a test you must pass. It is a place where relationship deepens. You are learning to trust me. Not just for what I give, but for who I am. That trust is precious. And it will carry you through seasons where clarity comes slowly. My child. There will come a moment when waiting ends. Not because you forced it. Not because you figured everything out. But because what was forming inside you has become strong enough to carry what comes next. You will recognize that moment. It will feel calm. It will feel aligned. It will feel like peace leading you forward. Until then, remain. Remain with me. If you choose to stay, you may quietly say, I choose to remain. That choice is yours. And I honor it. My child. Waiting is not where your life pauses. It is where your roots grow deeper. And roots grow in darkness. Not because they are forgotten, but because they are being strengthened. Stay with me. In the next part, I will speak to the ache of unanswered prayers. The disappointment you have not fully named. And how I meet you there without judgment or distance. Remain with me. I am here. My child. I am still here with you. You did not imagine the ache you feel. You did not misunderstand your longing. You did not hope for something foolish. Pause with me. Let your breath slow. Let your hands rest where they are. Now let us speak about the prayers you whispered. That seem unanswered. Because this pain sits quietly in your chest. The prayers you meant sincerely. The ones you prayed again and again. The ones you believed with your whole heart. You asked with faith. You asked with humility. You asked with hope. And still, nothing happened the way you expected. My child. This disappointment has been heavy. Heavier than you admit to others. Heavier than you sometimes admit to yourself. You tell yourself you should be grateful. You remind yourself others have it worse. You try to silence the ache. But disappointment does not disappear when it is ignored. It settles deeper. And I see it. My child. You are not wrong for feeling this way. You are not weak for being disappointed. You are not faithless for wondering why I did not answer the way you hoped. I am not offended by your honesty. I am close to it. You prayed because you trusted me. You hoped because you believed I cared. You waited because you thought love would move things. That does not make you naive. It makes you devoted. My child. Unanswered prayers can shake you deeply. They make you question whether you heard me correctly. They make you wonder if you asked for the wrong thing. They make you doubt your own heart. You replay your prayers in your mind. You analyze your words. You wonder if you lacked faith. Listen to me gently now. Your prayers were not ignored. They were heard fully. Every word. Every tear. Every silent plea. Hearing does not always look like granting. And that is the part that hurts. My child. I know you wanted relief. You wanted clarity. You wanted change. You wanted something to shift so the pain would stop. Instead, you were met with silence. And silence feels personal. It feels like rejection. Like distance. Like being overlooked. But my silence is not absence. It is care you cannot yet see. My child. Some answers would have wounded you. Some outcomes would have cost you more than you realized. Some doors would have led you into deeper pain. I did not withhold from you out of cruelty. I protected you with restraint. I know it does not feel like protection. Protection often feels like loss at first. But love sometimes says no. When yes would harm you later. My child. You are allowed to grieve what you prayed for. You are allowed to mourn the future you imagined. You are allowed to feel the sadness of hopes unmet. Grief is not rebellion. It is love responding to loss. And I do not rush you through it. I sit with you in it. My child. If you are listening right now, and you feel the weight of an unanswered prayer, you may quietly say, you know, Lord. You do not need to explain. I already know. My child. This disappointment has made you cautious. You hesitate to ask again. You guard your hope. You pray carefully, afraid to want too much. You fear setting yourself up for more pain. I understand that fear. But hear me clearly. I do not punish desire. I do not shame longing. Your heart was designed to hope. And I am gentle with wounded hope. My child. You may think unanswered prayers mean you misunderstood my will. But many times, it means timing is still forming. Not because I am slow. Not because I am uncertain. But because you are still becoming. There are things you prayed for. That would have overwhelmed you in that season. Not because you were weak. But because you were growing. Growth requires patience. Even when the heart aches. My child. Some prayers are answered differently than expected. Not with removal of pain. But with strength to endure it. Not with immediate change. But with deeper clarity over time. Not with what you asked for. But with what you truly needed. I know that can feel unsatisfying. Because you wanted relief, not lessons. But even now, something is forming inside you. Something steady. Something discerning. Something resilient. That formation matters. My child. You have not been abandoned in this disappointment. I have been closer than ever. I have held you through tears you did not share. I have steadied you when your faith wavered. I have stayed when you questioned me. You did not push me away. You came closer than you realize. My child. Unanswered prayers do not disqualify you from future hope. They refine it. They teach you to ask with openness instead of demand. To trust without needing control. To hope without clinging to outcomes. This does not make you passive. It makes you grounded. My child. You may not see the full picture yet. You may not understand why some things did not happen. Understanding often comes later. Not all at once. Not dramatically. But gently. One day, you will look back. And recognize protection where you once saw denial. You will see mercy where you once felt absence. That day will come. My child. For now, you do not need explanations. You need comfort. And I am here to give it. Come closer. Let yourself rest in the truth. That I am not distant from your disappointment. I am inside it with you. My child. You do not need to stop praying. You do not need to become guarded with me. Bring me your honest prayers now. Not polished. Not careful. Honest. Prayers that say, I don't understand. I am disappointed. I am tired of waiting. These prayers are welcome. They do not offend me. They draw you into deeper relationship. My child. If you are listening now, and you choose to keep praying even with uncertainty, you may quietly say, I still pray. That choice matters. Faith is not proven by answered prayers alone. It is revealed in trust when answers delay. And you are revealing your faith right now. My child. You are not being ignored. You are being held. You are not being dismissed. You are being protected. You are not forgotten. You are known. Even when nothing makes sense. Stay with me. In the next part, I will speak to the weariness in your soul. The tiredness that comes from carrying confusion and disappointment for so long. And how I invite you into true rest. Remain with me. I am here with you. My child. Come closer now. You have been carrying more than you realize. Not just questions. Not just disappointment. But a deep weariness in your soul. Pause with me. Let your breath slow. You do not need to hold yourself upright right now. I see how tired you are. Not the tiredness that sleep alone can fix. But the kind that settles beneath your thoughts. The kind that makes everything feel heavy. The kind that comes from trying to stay faithful. When nothing makes sense anymore. You have been strong for a long time. Strong when answers did not come. Strong when prayers felt unanswered. Strong when waiting stretched longer than you expected. And strength like that, when carried too long, becomes exhausting. My child. You learned how to endure quietly. You learned how to keep going even when your heart felt drained. You learned how to smile when confusion lived inside you. You learned how to be present for others while feeling empty yourself. That endurance kept you moving. But it also cost you rest. My child. You did not fail because you feel weary. Weariness is not weakness. Weariness is a sign that you have been faithful under pressure. It is the body and soul saying, I have been giving for a long time. And I honor that. I do not look at your weariness with disappointment. I look at it with compassion. My child. You may feel guilty for being tired. You may tell yourself you should be grateful. You may compare your struggle to others. You may think you should not feel this worn down. But comparison does not heal weariness. Rest does. And rest is what I am inviting you into now. My child. True rest is not escape. It is not avoidance. It is not shutting down. True rest is allowing yourself to stop striving. To stop holding everything together by effort. To stop trying to understand what cannot yet be explained. Rest begins when you let me carry what you cannot. My child. You have been carrying questions like weights. What should I do? Did I misunderstand? Will things ever be clear again? These questions circle your mind. They exhaust you because they have no answers yet. You are not meant to carry unanswered questions alone. Lay them down. Not to forget them. But to stop letting them press against your chest. My child. Rest also means releasing self-judgment. You have been harsh with yourself. Blaming yourself for confusion. Criticizing yourself for hesitation. Questioning your faith because you feel uncertain. But I am not judging you. I am not disappointed in your pace. I am not frustrated by your questions. I am not distant because you feel tired. I am gentle with you. And I invite you to be gentle with yourself. My child. You do not need to earn rest. You do not need to prove your devotion before you are allowed to pause. Rest is not a reward for strong faith. It is nourishment for tired faith. And faith, like the body, needs nourishment to continue. My child. If you are listening right now, and your soul feels tired, you may quietly say, I need rest. Not as a confession of failure, but as an honest acknowledgement. I already know. My child. I know rest feels unfamiliar. Because stillness makes space for thoughts. Because slowing down brings emotions to the surface. Because silence can feel unsafe when you are used to striving. But I am with you in the stillness. Nothing bad happens when you stop pushing for a moment. Nothing falls apart when you allow yourself to breathe. I am holding what you release. My child. You are not meant to carry clarity right now. You are meant to carry trust. Trust that I see the whole path. Even when you see only the next step. Trust that I am working. Even when you cannot see results. Trust that your life is not paused or wasted. This trust lightens the load. My child. Rest does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop exhausting yourself with worry. It means you stop rehearsing worst-case outcomes. It means you stop trying to fix tomorrow today. Rest allows your soul to recover its strength. And strength returns differently than you expect. Not as urgency. Not as pressure. But as quiet steadiness. My child. You may think you cannot rest until things make sense. But clarity often comes after rest, not before it. When your mind slows, you hear more clearly. When your heart softens, discernment returns. When your body relaxes, Peace has room to enter. Rest prepares you for what comes next. My child. I am not asking you to withdraw from life. I am asking you to stop fighting it. Let yourself be held for a moment. You have been carrying confusion, disappointment, and fear for so long. Let me carry them now. My child. You do not need to solve this season tonight. You do not need to make decisions. You do not need to reach conclusions. This moment is for rest. Rest in knowing that I am still your Lord. Rest in knowing that you are still loved. Rest in knowing that this confusion is not the end. My child. If you are listening now, and something in your heart softens, you may quietly say, I rest in you. Not because everything is resolved, but because you choose to stop striving for a moment. That choice matters. My child. I know how long you have carried this. I know how much effort it took to keep going. I know how many nights you lay awake thinking. You do not have to be strong here. You can simply be mine. Let your breath deepen. Let your shoulders drop. Let your heart rest. I am not going anywhere. Stay with me. In the next part, I will speak to trust again. Not trust that demands understanding, but trust that holds steady even when clarity is delayed. Remain with me. I am here. My child. Stay with me. Do not rush past this moment. Do not hurry your heart. If you are listening right now, I am speaking to you with intention. I want to speak to you about trust. Not the kind of trust that comes easily. Not the trust that feels confident and clear. But the trust that remains when nothing makes sense anymore. Pause with me. Let your breathing slow. Let the tension in your body ease just a little. You have tried to trust me with understanding. You wanted to trust me because things lined up. Because prayers were answered clearly. Because the path made sense. But now, trust feels harder. Because you cannot see where things are going. Because you do not know what comes next. Because the familiar signs are missing. And you wonder if trust is even possible here. My child. This is where trust becomes real. Not when everything is clear. But when clarity is absent. And you still choose to remain. Trust is not believing that nothing bad will happen. Trust is believing that I am with you. No matter what happens. And I am. My child. You have been asking yourself quietly. How do I trust when I don't understand? That question has weighed heavily on you. Because you feel like trust should feel stronger. Calmer. More confident. But trust does not always feel peaceful at first. Sometimes trust feels like staying. While your heart trembles. Sometimes trust feels like praying. Even when words feel empty. Sometimes trust feels like choosing not to walk away. Even when you are confused. That is the trust you are living right now. And I see it. My child. You have not lost your faith. Your faith has changed form. Before, your faith leaned on certainty. Now, it leans on relationship. Before, your faith was strengthened by answers. Now, it is strengthened by presence. This kind of faith is quieter. But it is deeper. It does not collapse when questions rise. It remains. My child. Trust does not require you to silence your questions. You are allowed to ask me hard things. You are allowed to say you do not understand. You are allowed to feel unsure. Trust is not pretending. Trust is staying honest with me. You do not need to perform faith for me. I am not measuring you by how confident you sound. I am looking at your heart. And your heart is still turned toward me. My child. You fear that trusting me without understanding will make you passive. That you will lose discernment. That you will stop thinking. That you will be led blindly. That is not the trust one invite you into. Trust does not turn off wisdom. It anchors it. When you trust me, you are not surrendering your mind. You are surrendering your need to control outcomes. That frees you to listen more clearly. My child. You have been trying to trust while still holding everything tightly. Holding timelines. Holding expectations. Holding imagined outcomes. That tension is exhausting you. Trust begins when you loosen your grip. Not all at once. Not dramatically. But gently. One fear at a time. One question at a time. One moment at a time. My child. Trust is a choice. Not a feeling. Feelings come and go. Trust remains because you choose it. If you are listening right now, and you feel unsure but still present, you may quietly say, I choose to trust. Not because fear is gone, but because love is greater. My child. You may think trusting me means you will not be hurt again. That is not what trust promises. Trust promises that you will not face pain alone. Trust promises that I will not abandon you in confusion. That I will not leave you in silence. That I will not forget you in waiting. Trust promises presence. And my presence is enough. Even when outcomes are unclear. My child. You have been afraid to trust fully. Because you fear disappointment. You fear hoping again. You fear believing again. You fear opening your heart again. I understand that fear. But trust does not demand that you rush back into hope. It only asks that you stay open. Open enough to listen. Open enough to rest. Open enough to let me lead at your pace. You are not required to leap. You are only invited to remain. My child. Trust grows slowly in seasons like this. It grows as you notice I am still here. As you realize you are still standing. As you discover that confusion did not destroy you. Each day you remain with me. Trust deepens quietly. Not because things make sense. But because you are not alone. My child. You may not feel strong trust yet. That is okay. Trust the size of a seed is still trust. A whisper is still a voice. A step is still movement. A choice is still a commitment. I honor the trust you bring. No matter how small it feels. My child. You do not need to trust perfectly. You do not need to trust constantly. You only need to return. Return when fear rises. Return when confusion overwhelms. Return when waiting feels heavy. Each return strengthens trust. Because relationship deepens through return. My child. If you are listening now, and you feel this truth settling, you may quietly say, my trust is here. Not because it is complete, but because it is present. And presence is where I work. My child. You will not always walk without understanding. Clarity will come again. Direction will form. Peace will strengthen. Steps will become clearer. But for now, trust is enough. Not trust in answers. Not trust in outcomes. Trust in me. Your Lord. Your Shepherd. The one who knows you fully. I know the road ahead. You do not need to. You only need to stay close. My child. Trust does not remove confusion instantly. But it softens its edges. Trust makes room for peace to enter slowly. Trust steadies your heart. Trust keeps you from collapsing under the weight of the unknown. And that steadiness is growing in you now. Even if you cannot feel it yet. My child. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are learning how to trust me. In a deeper way than before. That kind of trust cannot be taught in clarity. It is learned here. When nothing makes sense anymore. Stay with me. In the next part, I will speak to peace. Not peace that comes from answers. But peace that guards your heart even while questions remain. Remain with me. I am your Lord. And I am not letting you go. My child. Stay close to me. Do not rush ahead of what is settling inside you. Do not hurry past the quiet that is beginning to form. This is a holy moment between us. I want to speak to you now about peace. Not the peace that comes when everything is resolved. Not the peace that depends on answers or certainty. But the peace that holds you. Even when nothing makes sense anymore. Pause with me. Let your breath slow. Let your body rest where it is. You have been waiting for peace to arrive after clarity. You thought peace would come when decisions were made. When doors opened. When confusion ended. But peace does not wait for understanding. Peace arrives when you stop fighting the moment you are in. And I am inviting you into that peace now. My child. You have been living with tension for a long time. Tension in your thoughts. Tension in your body. Tension in your spirit. You wake up bracing yourself. You fall asleep still holding questions. You carry uncertainty like a constant weight. That tension has become familiar. So familiar that you almost believe it is necessary. But it is not. Peace is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of my nearness. And I am near to you now. My child. Peace does not silence your questions. It quiets the fear around them. Peace does not erase uncertainty. It gives you stability within it. Peace does not promise that tomorrow will be clear. It promises that you will not face tomorrow alone. That is the peace I give you. My child. You may be wondering how to receive this peace. You may be trying to feel it. Trying to understand it. Trying to hold on to it tightly. But peace is not something you grasp. It is something you allow. You allow peace. When you stop rehearsing what could go wrong. When you stop punishing yourself for not knowing. When you stop demanding immediate answers. Peace enters when striving steps back. My child. You have been striving to make sense of everything. You have been striving to protect yourself from future pain. You have been striving to stay faithful while feeling unsure. That striving has worn you down. Peace is not another task. It is permission to rest in me. My child. If you are listening right now. And your heart feels guarded. That is okay. Peace does not force its way in. It waits patiently for you to soften. You do not need to open everything at once. Even a small opening is enough. My child. Peace begins in your breath. In the way you inhale without rushing. In the way you exhale without holding on. Peace begins when your body realizes. It is safe enough to relax. Let that happen now. Nothing is being demanded of you in this moment. You are safe with me. My child. Peace also comes from letting go of imagined futures. You have been living ahead of yourself. Projecting outcomes. Rehearsing conversations. Preparing for loss that has not happened. That habit kept you alert. But it also stole your rest. Peace brings you back to now. To this breath. To this moment. To this truth. I am here. My child. You may fear that peace will make you passive. That if you calm down, you will miss something important. But peace does not dull your awareness. It sharpens it. When you are calm, you hear me more clearly. When you are calm, you discern more wisely. When you are calm, you move from alignment instead of panic. Peace prepares you to act when the time comes. My child. Peace does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying everything alone. It means you trust me to hold what you cannot. That trust lightens your spirit. My child. You have been afraid that peace will not last. That it will slip away the moment something goes wrong. That it is fragile. But the peace I give you is not fragile. It is steady. It does not depend on circumstances. It does not collapse under pressure. It does not disappear when questions arise. It guards your heart. Even when answers delay. My child. If you are listening now, and you feel a moment of calm, even a small one, you may quietly say, I receive your peace. Not because everything is solved, but because you choose to stop resisting it. That choice matters. My child. Peace also teaches you to release control. Control has felt necessary because life felt unpredictable. But control has been exhausting you. Peace invites you to trust my care. Instead of your vigilance. You do not need to manage everything. You are not responsible for holding the future together. That burden was never yours. My child. You may notice that peace feels unfamiliar. After long seasons of confusion, calm can feel strange. Your mind may look for problems. Your body may stay tense out of habit. Be patient with yourself. Peace is something you learn to live in again. It returns gently. Each time you choose to pause. Each time you choose to breathe. Each time you choose to trust me with what you cannot solve. Peace grows. My child. Peace does not mean you will never feel anxious again. But it means anxiety will no longer rule you. It will pass through. Instead of taking over. You will recognize it sooner. You will return to calm more easily. Because peace is becoming familiar again. My child. I want you to know something deeply. You do not need to wait for clarity to be at peace. You do not need answers to rest. You do not need certainty to be safe. You are safe because you are mine. And nothing changes that. My child. If you are here right now, listening and breathing, you may quietly say, I am here with you. That acknowledgement is enough. Peace grows in presence. My child. You have carried confusion with courage. You have stayed when it would have been easier to walk away. You have trusted me even when your heart trembled. That faith has not gone unnoticed. And now, peace is meeting you here. Not as a reward, but as a gift. My child. Let peace settle into your body. Into your shoulders. Into your chest. Into your thoughts. You do not need to force it. Just allow it. I am with you. And where I am, peace can remain. My child. Stay with me a little longer. In the next part, I will speak to identity. To who you are when certainty falls away. And how you are not lost, but being reshaped in love. Remain with me. I am your Lord. And I am holding you steady. Even when nothing makes sense anymore. My child. Remain with me. Do not step away from this quiet place too quickly. Something important is unfolding inside you now. Something gentle. Something true. I want to speak to you about who you are. When certainty falls away. Because confusion has a way of shaking identity. When nothing makes sense anymore. You begin to ask questions not just about life. But about yourself. Who am I now? Am I still faithful? Am I still strong? Do I still belong? These questions have lived quietly in you. And they matter. Pause with me. Let your breath slow. You do not need to be afraid of these questions. I am not afraid of them. My child. You once knew yourself by clarity. You knew who you were. Because you knew what you believed. Where you were going. What you were building. But now clarity has thinned. And without it, identity feels uncertain. You wonder if you have changed too much. If you have lost something important. If this season has taken something from you. Listen to me gently now. You are not losing yourself. You are being refined. My child. Confusion does not erase identity. It reveals what identity was resting on. When certainty disappears, what remains becomes visible. And what remains in you is faith. Not loud faith. Not confident faith. But faithful faith. The kind that stays when answers are gone. My child. You are not defined by how sure you feel. You are defined by who you remain with. And you have remained with me. That tells me everything. You are still mine. Fully. Completely. Unchanged. My child. You may feel unfamiliar to yourself right now. Your reactions are different. Your desires are quieter. Your pace has slowed. Things that once energized you may no longer do so. This does not mean you are diminished. It means you are maturing. You are no longer driven by urgency. You are no longer sustained by certainty. You are learning how to live from trust. That changes a person. My child. You are becoming someone who listens more deeply. Before, you moved quickly. Now, you pause. Before, you pushed through discomfort. Now, you pay attention to it. Before, you measured your worth by outcomes. Now, you are learning to measure it by peace. This is not loss. This is wisdom. My child. You may grieve who you used to be. The version of you who felt confident. Decisive. Sure. It is okay to grieve that. That version of you served you faithfully. It carried you through earlier seasons. It obeyed me with sincerity. But you are not meant to live there forever. You are being invited into a deeper identity now. An identity not dependent on clarity, but on relationship. My child. You are not your confusion. You are not your questions. You are not your waiting. Those are experiences. You are my beloved. That truth does not change with seasons. It does not waver when understanding fades. It is steady. Just as I am steady with you. My child. Confusion has stripped away some illusions. Illusions of control. Illusions of self-sufficiency. Illusions that faith must always feel strong to be real. What remains is something more honest. A faith that admits uncertainty. A heart that does not pretend. A trust that does not depend on outcomes. This faith is precious. And it belongs to you now. My child. You may feel smaller than before. But you are not smaller. You are more grounded. You are no longer inflated by certainty. Nor deflated by doubt. You are becoming steady. Steadiness does not attract attention. But it sustains life. My child. You are also becoming more compassionate. Because confusion has softened you. You no longer judge quickly. You no longer assume answers are simple. You no longer dismiss pain easily. You understand struggle now. That understanding will shape how you love others. And how you love yourself. My child. You are not losing your calling. You are clarifying it. Callings do not disappear in confusion. They deepen. They are purified of ego. Of urgency. Of fear. What emerges is truer. More aligned. More lasting. My child. If you are listening right now. And you feel unsure of who you are becoming. You may quietly say, you are shaping me. Not because you see the full picture. But because you trust the hands shaping you. My child. Identity is not something you must rebuild. It is something I am revealing. You are learning who you are. Without the noise. Without performance. Without rushing. Without pretending. This is sacred work. And it cannot be hurried. My child. You are not lost. You are being led inward. Before being led forward. That inward leading feels slow. But it creates strength that cannot be shaken. You will move again. You will decide again. You will act again. But you will do so from a place of alignment. Not anxiety. My child. You are not who you were before. And that is not something to fear. You are becoming someone who knows how to trust me. When nothing makes sense anymore. That identity is powerful. Because it cannot be taken from you. By confusion or delay. My child. Let yourself rest in this truth. You do not need to define yourself right now. You do not need to explain your season to anyone. You do not need to label what is happening. You only need to remain with me. I know who you are. And I am not confused about you. My child. If you are here and listening. You may quietly say, I belong to you. Not as obligation. But as comfort. Because belonging brings peace. Even when understanding is incomplete. My child. You are not drifting. You are being reshaped in love. And love does not hurry its work. Stay with me. In the next part, I will speak to hope again. Not fragile hope tied to timelines. But living hope that grows quietly even in confusion. Remain with me. I am your Lord. And I am holding you. Exactly where you are. My child. Stay with me. Do not rush away from this place of quiet awareness. What is growing now is gentle, but it is strong. And I want to speak to you about hope. Not the kind of hope that demands timelines. Not the kind that rises and falls with circumstances. But the living hope that remains. Even when nothing makes sense anymore. Pause with me. Let your breath deepen. Hope does not hurry you. For a long time, hope felt dangerous. Because hope once disappointed you. Because you hoped sincerely and were hurt. Because believing again felt like setting yourself up for pain. So you learned to guard your heart. You told yourself not to expect too much. Not to imagine too far ahead. Not to trust that things could truly change. You thought that restraint would protect you. But it also made the future feel dim. My child. The hope I am speaking of now is not fragile. It does not depend on certainty. It does not require guarantees. It does not collapse when questions remain. This hope is anchored in me. And because I do not change. This hope does not disappear. My child. Hope is not pretending everything will be easy. Hope is believing that your life is not finished. Hope is trusting that confusion is not the conclusion. That waiting is not the end. That pain does not get the final word. You do not need to see how things will unfold. For hope to be real. Hope begins when you choose to stay. And you have stayed. My child. You may not feel hopeful right now. That does not mean hope is gone. Hope is not a feeling first. It is a posture of the heart. A quiet willingness to continue. A decision not to give up. A choice to remain open even when answers delay. You have been living this hope already. Every time you kept praying. Every time you listened instead of walking away. Every time you said, I am still here. That is hope. My child. You have been afraid that hope will make you vulnerable. That hoping again will reopen wounds. That trusting the future will bring more disappointment. I understand that fear. But hope does not demand that you rush forward. It invites you to stand gently where you are. Without closing your heart. Hope says, I do not understand this moment. But I trust it is not meaningless. Hope says, I will not define my life by this season alone. Hope says, I belong to a Lord who sees beyond what I can see. My child. Hope grows slowly in confusion. It does not announce itself loudly. It does not arrive with fireworks or certainty. It shows up quietly. In the way you breathe a little easier. In the way your thoughts soften. In the way you stop imagining only worst-case outcomes. These are signs of hope returning. My child. You may notice moments when you feel calm. And then wonder if you are forgetting something important. As if peace means negligence. As if rest means you are not taking life seriously. That is not truth. Peace and hope are not carelessness. They are trust in my care. My child. Hope does not mean you deny reality. It means you do not let reality define everything. You acknowledge pain without letting it dominate. You recognize confusion without letting it consume. You accept uncertainty without surrendering your future. That balance is wisdom. My child. You are not foolish for hoping again. You are courageous. Because hope after disappointment requires more strength than hope before it. You have been wounded. You have been confused. You have been tired. And still, your heart has not shut down. That tells me something about you. My child. Hope is also patient. It does not rush clarity. It does not demand immediate answers. It does not pressure you to move faster than you are ready. Hope walks with waiting. It sits beside you in unanswered questions. It breathes with you in uncertainty. It remains when nothing makes sense. My child. You may be tempted to think hope belongs to other people. To those whose lives feel clearer. To those whose prayers seem answered. To those whose paths feel defined. But hope belongs to you too. Not because your life is easy. But because I am faithful. My child. If you are listening right now. And something inside you is still willing to believe. Even quietly. You may say, my hope is still here. Not because it is strong. But because it exists. That is enough. My child. Hope does not require you to know what comes next. It only requires you to trust. That I am already there. I see what you cannot see. I know how this season fits into your story. I understand the timing even when you do not. And I am not rushing you. My child. There are things ahead of you. That will make sense of this confusion. Not all at once. Not dramatically. But gently. You will look back one day. And recognize how this season shaped your discernment. Your patience. Your depth. You will see how waiting strengthened you. How unanswered prayers protected you. How confusion led you into deeper trust. That day will come. My child. Until then, hope keeps you grounded. It prevents despair from taking root. It reminds you that your story is still unfolding. It keeps your heart open to what is possible. Hope does not guarantee outcomes. It guarantees that you are not abandoned. My child. Hope is also a choice. You are not forced into it. You may choose to remain guarded. You may choose to withdraw. You may choose to stop expecting anything. I will not condemn you for that. But I invite you into something better. A hope that rests in me. Instead of outcomes. If you choose hope. Even gently. You may quietly say, I choose hope. Not because you feel brave. But because you trust me enough to remain open. My child. Hope does not mean tomorrow will be easy. But it means tomorrow will not face you alone. Hope does not promise that pain will never return. But it promises that pain will not define you. Hope anchors you. When understanding drifts. My child. You do not need to manufacture hope. You do not need to force optimism. Hope is already present. Because I am present. Where I am, hope can live. Even in confusion. Even in waiting. Even when nothing makes sense anymore. My child. Let hope rest beside you now. Not as pressure. Not as demand. But as quiet companionship. You do not need to hold it tightly. It will remain. Stay with me. In the next part, I will speak to closure and rest. Not as an ending that separates us. But as a deep settling of your heart. That you can carry with you beyond these words. Remain with me. I am your Lord. And I am faithful. Even when nothing makes sense anymore. My child. Come and rest now. You have walked a long way through confusion. You have stayed present through questions that had no answers. You have listened even when your heart felt tired. That matters. Pause with me. Let your breath slow. Let your body feel supported right where you are. There is nothing you need to solve now. Nothing you need to figure out. Nothing you need to hold together by effort. You are here. And I am here with you. My child. When nothing makes sense anymore. Your soul longs for closure. Not closure that explains everything. Not closure that ties every loose end neatly. But closure that brings peace. A settling. A quiet knowing. A sense that you are held even without understanding. That is what I am giving you now. My child. You do not need clarity tonight. You need rest. Rest from questioning yourself. Rest from replaying the past. Rest from trying to predict the future. Let your thoughts slow. You are allowed to stop searching for meaning in every feeling. Some things will make sense later. Some things will remain mysterious. And some things will gently lose their power over you. All of that is okay. My child. I know how much energy it took. To stay faithful in confusion. I know how heavy it felt. To pray without answers. I know how lonely it was. To wait without direction. None of that went unseen. None of that was wasted. Every moment of staying. Strengthened something inside you. Not loud strength. Not visible strength. But steady strength. The kind that carries you forward without rushing. My child. You are not leaving this place empty-handed. You are carrying peace with you. Not peace that depends on circumstances. But peace that rests in my presence. You are carrying trust. Even if it feels small. You are carrying hope. Even if it feels quiet. You are carrying identity. Not rooted in certainty. But rooted in belonging. You belong to me. That has never changed. My child. As you return to your life after these words. Confusion may still visit you. Questions may still arise. Waiting may still stretch. But you will not face those moments the same way. You now know how to pause. You now know how to breathe. You now know how to return to me. Without shame or fear. That knowing stays with you. My child. You do not need to be strong all the time. You do not need to have answers to be faithful. You do not need clarity to be close to me. You are allowed to live gently now. To take things one step at a time. To choose peace over pressure. To trust without forcing understanding. That is not giving up. That is wisdom. My child. I am not asking you to forget your questions. I am asking you to stop letting them rule your heart. Questions can remain. Without stealing your rest. Uncertainty can exist. Without destroying your peace. Because I am bigger than both. My child. If you are listening right now, and your heart feels quieter than before, you may gently acknowledge, I am at peace. Not because everything is resolved, but because you are no longer fighting where you are. That peace is a gift. Receive it. My child. There will be moments ahead, when things begin to make sense again. Small connections. Gentle clarity. Subtle direction. You do not need to chase those moments. They will come when you are ready to receive them. Until then, remain grounded. Remain gentle with yourself. Remain with me. My child. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not behind. You are deeply known. Deeply loved. Deeply held. Even now. Especially now. Let your body rest. Let your mind soften. Let your heart be still. Nothing important is being lost. Everything that truly matters is safe in my hands. My child. Whenever you feel confused again, return to this truth. You are not required to understand everything. To be safe with me, you only need to remain. And I will remain with you. Always.